I am a Catholic, and I wholeheartedly do accept death for the Lord. I shall die for God, and for Him I would give many thousands of lives if I had them. These are the words, the last words of Lorenzo Ruiz as he gave his life after having been tortured. He died a martyr for his faith. My dear friends, the life and death of San Lorenzo Ruiz reminds us that the Christian message is sown and it takes root when it is lived authentically and eloquently. And nothing speaks more authentically or more eloquently than the blood of martyrs. The blood of martyrs is the seed of faith. We need today people like San Lorenzo who live their faith with clarity, even in the face of obstacles and resistance. There is a question often posed during retreats. If Christianity was a crime, would there be enough evidence to convict you? If being a Christian was against the law, would they find enough evidence to convict you? We can imagine the courage of San Lorenzo Ruiz, who, when recognized as a Catholic Christian in Japan, refused to renounce his faith. We might wonder whether we would have the same courage as he did. And we should wonder as well whether the enemies of the faith would recognize us as Christians. As Christians, they should be worried about. We lived in an increasingly secularized world where belief is reduced to the subjective, a matter of one's private opinion, and where God really doesn't matter much. We live at a time when many people will define themselves as spiritual but not religious, and thus construct for themselves made-to-order creeds in which they profess to believe in Jesus, expressed sometimes very vaguely, but not in the church. Thus, we find people who say they believe, but they do not belong. And as we see sometimes in many Catholics in public life, but not exclusively among them, we find those who believe, or those who belong, but who do not apparently believe. Following Jesus does not always bring wealth, health, and happiness. As Catholics, we do not proclaim the so-called gospel of nice. That is the gospel of the world, accepting sins and rejecting the need of repentance. Rather, we proclaim the gospel of Christ. And there can be times of suffering for believers, and even times when believers are put to death. We should remember, we should keep in mind our kababayans who work in countries where they cannot practice their Christian faith openly. There they must practice their faith secretly, no, patago. But faith grows where it is lived. My dear sisters and brothers, our Catholic faith is God's most precious gift to us. It is worth living for. And as Saint Lawrence Ruiz shows us, it is worth dying for. Through his prayers, then, may our witness of life grow in credibility, and let his last words inspire us every single day of our life as Catholic Christians of today. I am a Catholic, and I wholeheartedly do accept death for the Lord. I shall die for God, and for Him I would give many thousands of lives if I had them.